All right, so today we're going to track one of Spider-Man's most enduring and, honestly, most psychologically fascinating villains, Kraven the Hunter. And look, you got to forget the lion vest and the whole theatrical persona for a second. Because at his core, Kraven is a man driven by this profound, deadly obsession that totally reshaped the lives of both the hunter and the prey.
So, right from his very first appearance, Kraven sets this chilling tone. You see, this line, it isn't just some random threat. No, it's a direct reference to the classic short story, The Most Dangerous Game. You know the one, right? Where a guy gets bored hunting animals and decides to start hunting humans for sport. Yeah. So this one line immediately tells you everything about Kraven's mindset. His targets aren't victims. They're the ultimate test of his skill.
So, who is the man behind the hunt? Well, to really get Kraven, we have to look past the whole hunter thing and dig into his unique and often kind of contradictory philosophy. See, in his mind, he isn't a killer. He's more like an artist, performing in a really brutal sport.
Okay, so his real name is Sergei Kravenov. And get this, he's a Russian aristocrat whose family had to flee to America after the revolution. He becomes this world-famous big game hunter, right? But eventually, well, animal prey just got too easy. It wasn't a challenge anymore. He needed something more, a new peak to conquer. And well, he found it swinging through the concrete jungle of New York City.
And this is what really separates Kraven from the pack. I mean, think about it. Other hunters, they use guns, bows, all sorts of tech. Kraven, he thinks that's for amateurs. He prefers his bare hands, that raw, visceral struggle. This isn't just about the kill for him. It's about a strict personal code of honor that comes directly from that aristocratic past we just talked about. For Kraven, the hunt is a noble pursuit. It's how he proves he's superior, how he establishes himself as the true apex predator, no matter the environment.
So naturally, this whole philosophy of the hunt funnels down into one single, life-consuming obsession. But why Spider-Man? I mean, seriously, in a world full of actual gods and monsters, what was it about a guy in red and blue tights that made him the ultimate prize?
Well, believe it or not, it started as just another job. A contract from his half-brother, the Chameleon. But Spider-Man, he was different. He was so agile, so clever, and he was constantly outwitting Kraven's plans. And every single failure, every narrow escape, it didn't discourage Kraven. Oh no, it inflamed his pride. It became personal, a matter of honor he just couldn't let go.
And don't get me wrong, this isn't just some ordinary guy in a vest. Kraven regularly takes these mystical jungle serums, right? And they give him incredible physical abilities. We're talking superhuman strength, enough to go toe-to-toe with Spidey. His senses are heightened, like an animal's. Oh, and he ages super slowly. Now you combine all that with a genius-level tactical mind and this encyclopedic knowledge of poisons and pressure points, and yeah, you've got a seriously legitimate physical threat on your hands.
So this obsession, this lifelong quest, it all comes to a head in what is, without a doubt, his most defining story, Kraven's last hunt. And this wasn't just another battle, not by a long shot. This was the culmination of his entire life.
Okay, picture this. Kraven's getting older. The serum that gives him all his power, it's starting to fail him. His body is breaking down. And on top of that, he is absolutely haunted by decades of failures against Spider-Man. So with his time running out, he decides he has one last chance to prove he's superior to his nemesis. And this time, he is willing to do absolutely anything to win.
And his plan? It was just shocking. Pure methodical madness. See, he doesn't just want to kill Spider-Man. That's too simple. First, he hunts him down and blasts him with a powerful tranquilizer, putting him in a death-like coma. Step 2, he buries him alive. Then, step 3, he puts on a copy of Spider-Man's costume and goes out to become his superior, a more brutal, more efficient version of the hero. For step 4, he single-handedly takes down the villain Vermin, a bad guy that Spider-Man himself needed help to beat. And that final step? Well, that's the most shocking part of all.
I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. He did it. He achieved everything he ever set out to do. He defeated his enemy, he buried him, and he proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he was superior. The hunt is over. The great obsession of his entire life is fulfilled. So what's left for the world's greatest hunter? What comes next? And the answer, for Kraven, was nothing. With his honor satisfied, he saw no reason to keep living. He had reached the absolute summit of his life's ambition, so he wrote a full confession, laid out his rifle, and took his own life. He found a kind of twisted peace in that final,
ultimate victory. And it is, to this day, one of the darkest, most stunning moments in all of comic book history.
But you know how it is in the world of comics. Death is rarely the end, right? And for Kraven, the peace he fought so hard to find in death was tragically and just so ironically stripped away from him.
I mean, that carefully planned, honorable end, the absolute perfect culmination of his life's work, was completely undone, and it was undone by the very family he was trying to build a legacy for. In their grief, in their ambition, they just couldn't let him rest in peace.
So years later, his wife Sasha and their kids performed this dark magic ritual to bring him back. But the ritual was flawed. They messed it up. So instead of a true resurrection, they ended up cursing him with what he calls unlife, which is basically a state of tortured, unwanted immortality.
And here's the ultimate irony of it all. The man who lived his whole life just to conquer Spider-Man is now tied to him for all eternity. Because that flawed ritual created a very specific curse. The only person who can grant Kraven the true death he so desperately craves now is the very hero he once hunted. His greatest enemy has become his only possible salvation. Crazy, right?
And Kraven's toxic obsession, well, it didn't just affect him. It became a legacy, a really dark inheritance passed down to a new generation. A generation that wanted to live up to his name, but often without any of his sense of honor.
Man, his family is complicated, to say the least. You've got his half-brother, the master of disguise, Chameleon. You've got his various kids, like Anna and Alyosha. And you even have a whole bunch of clones that were created to be his perfect heir. Pretty soon, the whole Kravinoff name just became synonymous with the Hunt.
But here's the key difference. Where Kraven had a code, his heirs, they mostly just got his brutality. They inherited his strength, sure, but not his, let's call it, honor. The hunt for Spider-Man wasn't a noble pursuit anymore. It became this chaotic, bloody contest. I mean, they were constantly turning on each other, betraying and even killing one another just to prove they were worthy of the name. His obsession didn't just get passed down, it metastasized. It became this sprawling, violent family curse that just consumed every single one of them.
And that pretty much brings us to the Kraven we have today. A man who has won, died, and been reborn completely against his will. His original purpose? It's gone. It's been replaced by a desperate new hunt. He's no longer hunting for honor or to prove he's superior. No. Now, Kraven the Hunter hunts for an ending. A final piece that only his greatest enemy can ever give him. What does that do to a man's soul? Now that's a question worth thinking about.